Carmen, welcome to episode 3 of the Chamber podcast. This is where we get to meet members of the Chamber. We find out the story behind their business and who they are. And so far, so good. We've had 2 other really interesting interviews, and Monique's up next.
Oh my goodness, that should be exciting.
So to get started, I'd love to know the 2-minute story of who you are and what you do, and then what we'll be doing is diving deeper into that.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, thank you for having me. It's actually quite exciting. Okay, so my name is Carmen Solorzano. I am the owner and director of SHEQ Management, a consulting firm which we specialize in safety, environment and quality management systems, and we work with a number of large corporates and also SMEs in the safety, environment and quality fields. And I've been doing that for the last, I hate to say it, but for the last 20 years.
Awesome.
In different fields. But yeah, working my way through all of them.
Great. And was that always what you'd done? Was that what your qualification was in, or what you were doing previously?
So through the MCCC, I recently participated in a open day at university, and I recall back in the day how difficult it is to choose one single path that you're going to do for the entire life. And as a result, I was a uni hopper. I knew that I was going to do science. Started with chemistry, biology, and then geology. And somehow I managed to find my way into the mining industry in Victoria. And then in a quality field, so I was doing laboratory testing, research and development. And then I moved to Queensland for another mining company, again in quality, but I've been ventured into environment, and then I moved to Perth and focused solely in environment for a number of years, and then I moved into safety. So science is something that interests me, even as a child. The methodical process of investigation and problem solving. So I knew I was going to do that. I never thought I would be in environment. It wasn't a field back in the heyday. And I certainly never thought myself as a business owner. It's not, some people, they all want to be a business owner. That wasn't me.
How long have you been in business for yourself?
Since 2014.
Great.
So
and
going to 10 years
Is
now.
it just yourself, or have you got a team?
No, so the team at the moment is 4 of us, and it has gone up a little higher. 4 is just a happy little size. So we have Kieran, who's predominantly safety, Lisette, who is doing safety and environment, and myself, who do all 3. And we have Kayla, who helps us with marketing.
So walk us through, so pretend I know nothing, because it's true, I know nothing about SHEQ, but walk me through how you typically work with clients and what that process looks like.
So some of our clients may come up to us and say, we want to be more competitive in the market. And every time we go to tenders, they talk to us about this thing called ISO standards. 9001, which is quality, 45001 for safety, 14001 for environment.
And for those who don't know, ISO is International Standards of something.
Organization. Yeah. So it's a structured framework for the management of those systems, environment, safety and quality. So we help them develop the system, we help them implement it, and we can go ahead and help them through the monitoring and improvement. So we now, for SMEs in particular, we offer managed services. So companies who have a workforce but don't have an internal HSE resource, we become part of their extended team, and we schedule visits once a month or once a quarter or however much they need.
Yeah, I think that's pretty common for businesses that are bigger than owner operators but slightly smaller than larger organisations where they don't have someone responsible for the role, so they need to outsource it to to someone like yourself?
You know, we certainly appreciate the fact that as a small business owner, we wear many hats, and you can't fully dedicate yourself to any one of those. There is certain benefits in the appropriate management of your quality of your HSE systems. It can greatly improve your bottom line. Obviously, if you're not hurting people, your work cover insurance reduces, you have more productivity, you have less errors because you have consistent quality products as an outcome, the desired quality that you looking to achieve, and you have happy clients. So it all helps.
So give me a really typical example that you work with.
We have a number of small contractors, let's say, who want to work within the mining industry. They have to jump through a number of hoops in order to get qualified as approved contractor. So we develop their safety management systems. We help them run toolboxes, risk assessments, incident investigations. If one of their workforce is, involved in an incident, we can help them investigate it, help them manage an injury if it does get to that case. We can help them continually improve their system and go and get third-party accreditation if they so wish. For other clients, we can help them through auditing. It helps to have, independent auditors to a fresh set of eyes, provide us a fresh set of eyes to see the business from a different lens and help them see gaps.
And so you'll advise them then on what they need to implement to be up to standard?
We can do a gap analysis to see this is what's required from you, either through the ISO framework or through legislation. There was a recent change in WHS legislation here in WA, and we have helped companies carry out gap assessment to understand what are their obligations and responsibilities under the Act, and ensure that they have the systems and processes to address those. So we can provide recommendations, or we can come in and say, we will help you implement this and run the program for you.
Great. So can you give us like a recent example of someone that you've worked with? And you might not be able to name the company, or you might be able to, but I'd love to hear like a typical example of a client that you've worked with, how you helped them, and what the outcome might have been from the work that you did with them.
So a recent example is a small business that provides sort of fugitive emissions management. So in the mining industry, you have whole roads that get very dusty, and in suburbia you have residential developments that they have been cleared and then they become a dust bowl. So the operators of those facilities have a responsibility to ensure that they're not generating fugitive emissions and causing a nuisance and health hazards to people nearby. So that's what they do. They provide a product and service to prevent dust being generated. They wanted to work with Tier 1 industries. In order to do that, they had to have an ISO accreditation. It's a small team, husband and wife, who, as you know, wearing many hats, and she is brilliant, Kelly. She will, I'll get on the phone to her and she'll go, today I'm warehouse supervisor, today I'm purchasing officer, today I'm back to being payroll or whatever it might be. So they needed assistance. We helped them develop the system. The documents, the management plans, the registers, the risk assessments, the training of their personnel. And we help them through accreditation through a third party. they passed the first time, and which they were very, very grateful. And then we were able to assist them through their pre-qualification to those big tier 1 miners. So that was a success story, and we've got a number of them that have come that way, wishing to, small business wishing to get those big chunky projects.
I hear that a lot, particularly in like manufacturing type industries, where a lot of business owners want to move away from smaller jobs and work with bigger clients like government and defence and that kind of thing. But often the hurdle is all the rigmarole that goes behind getting on the procurement list.
Yep.
And I think that's a really big need to be able to handhold some of these people through that process all the way up until actually getting like on the list of registered providers or preferred providers. Yeah.
So one thing that we pride ourselves on is, Kieran and I alone we were laughing about it a couple of days ago, just quietly, between the two of us, we have nearly 50 years of experience. Then you add Lisette and go to 60. Because we have been in the trenches and we've been lucky enough to work with those big tier 1s, but also with smaller teams. We understand the fine balance between what is necessary, what is practical, and what's achievable. So one of the things that we take great pride in is developing systems that are specific to the client's needs. So it's not just, going for best practice when it's a one-man band, because it's
Send them broke.
Yeah. Not only that it's going to add no value because that person is not going to be able to maintain the system. That person on his own or her own may be, doing best practice, but not documented as such. So the process needs to reflect what's done on a day-to-day basis.
That's great. So for those people who are part of the chamber that might benefit from your service, who would that typically be, and who might you want introductions to from within the chamber?
Okay, so anyone who has a workforce, anyone who has a product or service, and wants to have consistency in the quality output. And one thing to highlight is that with recent changes to environmental reporting obligations, a number of companies are going to have to start reporting their carbon footprint, the Scope 3 emissions, so Scope 2 emissions. So that's something that may trigger smaller clients to report to their client bases. Anyone who has a workforce, wants consistency in their products and services, and wants to improve the way they do business or systemize it, that's where we can help.
Great. And just before we wrap it up, and just so we can talk over this noisy mob in the background, what's your experience been like since being a member of the chamber?
I find it grateful. I think it's wonderful to have an opportunity to come together once a month and just bounce ideas or hear what everyone else has been up to, get introduced to different industries. I have been lucky enough to form some great connections with other businesses that we met at the chamber, we saw possibilities, and we happy to help each other. For my client base, there are people that I can recommend because I know, like, and trust them, and I see it consistently. The chamber itself has also introduced some great opportunities, such as the MBA program placement, student placements. I'm lucky enough to have had the opportunity to put my hand up, and I'm going through the process now. So there are great opportunities out there.
And they only come about through the sponsors that we have here,
Yes.
like those kind of connections.
And also the learning. I mean, you have done fantastic work in putting programs together that are specific for SMEs, and I'm looking forward to. I'm coming to the next
Great.
one because I missed out the first time, so I'm not gonna. It wasn't gonna happen again.
You'll enjoy it.
So yeah, it's something practical, applicable to SMEs.
Cool. And just before we go, if someone's sitting on the fence thinking about joining the chamber, what would you tell them?
Do it.
Do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
You will meet great people, have great opportunities to learn something new, meet new people, and learn from other people's experiences.
All right. Round of applause for Carmen, I think. It's our live studio audience. We're done.